first really getting into basketball, like I see highlights of Michael Jordan and shit like that, and I just feel like Curry is just more exciting.
3 years ago, a rapper sat down for what seemed like a normal interview and said 7 words that would haunt basketball fans forever. Stephen Curry is better than Michael Jordan. The interviewer probably thought it was just another hot take. The internet thought DDG had lost his mind. But what if those 7 words were actually the most honest thing anyone has ever said about basketball? Because what DDG revealed about his generation and how they see greatness is about to make you question everything you thought you knew about who really deserves to be called the GOAT, the statement that started it all. So here's what happened. Back in October 2022, rapper and YouTuber DDG sat down for an interview on VladTV with Shirley Jew. Everything's going normal until he drops this bombshell. Stephen Curry is better than Michael Jordan. Not just good, not just great, but better than the guy most people call the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, DDG didn't just slip up and say this by accident. He knew exactly what he was doing. He straight up told the interviewer he knew he'd ruffle feathers with this take. This wasn't some random hot take for clicks. This was DDG doubling down on what he genuinely believes about basketball greatness. But here's the question everyone's asking. Is DDG completely out of his mind, or does he have a point? Let's break this down piece by piece. Why DDG thinks this way. To understand DDG's perspective, we need to look at when he grew up watching basketball. DDG was born in 1997, which means something important. When he was forming his first real memories of basketball, Michael Jordan was already winding down his career or completely retired. Think about it this way. DDG explained it perfectly in that VladTV interview. He said he was born in 1997 and was towards the end of Michael Jordan playing. So while older fans got to watch Jordan dominate the league night after night, DDG was watching highlights on YouTube. Meanwhile, he was seeing Stephen Curry revolutionize basketball right in front of his eyes. That's a completely different experience, isn't it? When you only know a legend through their greatest moments on YouTube, you miss all the context, the struggles, and the full journey. And here's something else that matters. DDG is from the Bay Area and calls himself Warriors all day. So not only did he watch Curry's rise happen in real time, but Curry was his home team hero. That kind of connection runs deep. But does growing up in a different era make his opinion less valid? That's what we need to figure out. The case everyone makes for Jordan. Before we can really judge DDG's take, let's be honest about why most people think Michael Jordan is untouchable. The numbers are absolutely insane. Jordan averaged 30.1 points per game in the regular season and 33.4 points per game in the playoffs. These are NBA records that might never get broken. But it's not just about scoring. 6 NBA championships, 6 finals MVP awards, 5 regular season MVP awards, and here's the big one, a perfect 6-0 record in the finals. Jordan never lost when it mattered most. Every single time he made it to the finals, he walked away with the championship. And let's talk about what Jordan did beyond basketball. He turned the NBA into a global phenomenon. The Jordan brand isn't just about shoes. It's about this idea of excellence and competitiveness that still influences athletes today. So yeah, the case for Jordan being the greatest ever is overwhelming. But is that the end of the story? Stephen Curry's case. Now here's where things get interesting. DDG's argument for Curry isn't just about traditional basketball stats. Curry literally changed how basketball is played at every level, from kids in the park to NBA superstars. Before Curry, taking a three-pointer from way beyond the arc was considered a bad shot. Now, kids are pulling up from the parking lot trying to be like Steph. He didn't just break records, he forced every single team in the league to completely rethink how they play offense and defense. And Curry keeps doing things that seem impossible. Just this year, on January 2nd, 2025, he did something no player in NBA history had ever done. Scored 30 points with 10 assists while shooting a perfect 8 of 8 from three-point range. That's not just a great game, that's redefining what's possible on a basketball court. When DDG talks about Curry providing more excitement, he talks about this unpredictability. With Curry on the court, a team can be down by 15 points and suddenly tie the game with 3 shots from way downtown. That's a different kind of basketball magic. Here's another thing that shows Curry's impact. In 2024, he signed a 1-year extension worth $62.6 million. making him the first NBA player to earn $60 million in a single season. Teams don't pay that kind of money unless you're changing the game. The generational gap. So here's the real question. Does it matter that DDG experienced these players differently than older fans? When DDG says Curry is more exciting than Jordan, he's speaking from watching Curry's entire rise happen right in front of him. That's his authentic experience. This isn't about disrespecting Jordan's legacy. It's about how the way we experience greatness shapes what we think greatness looks like. DDG grew up in an era where every great play gets shared instantly across social media. His basketball education happened in real time through streaming games and highlight reels. That creates a totally different relationship with players than the appointment television era when Jordan was dominating. And let's be real, sports fandom isn't purely objective. It's tied to personal connections, where you're from, and the communities you identify with. DDG's support for Curry makes perfect sense when you consider he's from the Bay Area and watched the Warriors become a dynasty. But does personal experience matter in debates about greatness, or should we stick to traditional measures of success? How basketball has changed. Here's something that makes this debate even more complex. Basketball itself has completely evolved since Jordan's era. Jordan dominated through overwhelming individual brilliance in an era of physical play and isolation basketball. Curry thrives in an era that emphasizes pace, space, ball movement, and three-point shooting. These aren't just different playing styles, they represent completely different approaches to basketball excellence. Jordan's dominance came through being unstoppable one-on-one within a more structured offensive system. Curry's impact comes through revolutionizing how the entire game is played while still putting up elite individual numbers. Both approaches represent peak basketball excellence, but they're so different that comparing them is like comparing a master painter to a master musician. They're both artists, but they're working in completely different mediums. DDG keeps making bold claims. But DDG hasn't stopped with just the Curry take. In March 2025, he made another statement that had people scratching their heads. He said Bronny James is better than Michael Jordan. After Bronny had a career-high performance with the Lakers, DDG tweeted Bronny greater than Michael Jordan. Now that might sound even more outrageous than his Curry claim, but it shows something important about how DDG evaluates players. He's willing to make bold statements based on what he sees right now, not just what history books tell him. Whether that's insightful or just contrarian depends on your perspective. The final verdict. So, what's our take? DDG might be onto something that the basketball world isn't ready to accept. Now, let's be real. His take about Bronny James being better than Jordan is completely off base. Bronny hasn't achieved anything close to greatness yet. But when it comes to Stephen Curry, that's where things get interesting. While Jordan's case seems bulletproof with 6 championships and a perfect finals record, DDG is witnessing something in real time that we're all missing. The scariest part? He might be right about Steph, and we're all just too stuck in the past to see it.